Welcome to Magic Arcanum. I'm Ryan Gomez. Behind the scenes is Nicole Letson, and we're so glad you're here because it's story time. Or, more accurately, mystery solving time. The Magic story has several threads going right now, so today we're going to take a look at where we stand as we get ready to head into the next wave of sets. But first, let me say thank you to everyone who makes this show possible with their support over on Patreon. We got to add a lot of new names to the credits this month, and anyone who pledges just $1 or more gets access to our exclusive Discord server and some other extra goodies. So go ahead and check it out using the link down below. All right, let's talk mysteries. Number 1, who is the Wanderer? This planeswalker showed up in War of the Spark after being drawn to Ravnica by the signal coming from the interplanar beacon. But we know very little about her. The War of the Spark novel was not much help. The Wanderer and Sarkhan exchanged greetings, which tells me that they've met before, but we don't know when and we don't know where. Here's what we do know. The Wanderer is unique in that she can planeswalk more easily than most other characters. For her, the challenge is in not planeswalking. She has to focus to stay where she is, otherwise she gets taken to a random plane. We also know she can absorb kinetic energy and channel it into her big sword. At one point in the War of the Spark book, she tells Gideon to punch her in the face as hard as he can, and the resulting impact supercharges her attacks and lets her slice through the horde of advancing Eternals. These two abilities are captured pretty well in her 2 cards from War of the Spark. Her Planeswalker card protects you and your team from non-combat damage, and her Strike can exile any creature no matter how big. But who is the Wanderer? Where did she come from, and where will she show up next? My bet is Ikoria. They announced this set as coming in April, and it's described as the lair of the behemoths with a focus on giant monsters. My guess is some sort of chaotic energy storm creates these giant monsters, and maybe it affected the Wanderer's spark to make it more random as well. I'm thinking something like Godzilla being a result of the radiation from the atomic bombs kind of a thing. But that's just my guess. I want to hear yours for this mystery and all the others down in the comments. Onwards to number 2. Who is Kaz Mina? Much like the Wanderer, this planeswalker showed up in War of the Spark with very few clues as to her origin or backstory. Her cards do give us some hints, so let's take a look at them. I'll start with her planeswalker card, Kaz Mina, Enigmatic Mentor. Enigmatic means difficult to interpret or understand, so good job, creative team. You got me on that one. Her passive ability makes it more costly for your opponent to target your creatures and planeswalkers with spells. This is a sort of soft hexproof. We see it on a few other blue cards, usually with an ice theme behind it, but not always. Her activated ability actually does 2 things. It creates a wizard token, and it lets you loot. Looting is a slang term. It means draw a card, then discard a card, like you can do with Merfolk Looter. Now, in Magic Arena, when you activate this ability, Kaz Mina will refer to these wizard tokens as her students, which makes me think she has a school somewhere. Wizard schools are popular on Dominaria, but her aesthetic doesn't really match, so I think we can rule that one out. Early speculation had Kaz Mina as a fit for the story on Eldraine, and that is largely thanks to her other card, Kaz Mina's Transmutation. Turning people into a frog is a pretty common activity in a lot of fairy tales, and her outfit with the hooded cloak and the staff could be a fit for like a twist on a Little Bo Peep kind of character. The Eldraine book made no mention of Kaz Mina, so I think that's not her home either, and that leaves us with very little left to go on. I don't even have a prediction for this one. She really is living up to her name, and she's a complete enigma. I do like her Planeswalker card, though, and I cannot wait to see where her story takes her next. Mystery number 3. Where is Kaya from? We've had a bit more time to get to know Kaya after she first appeared in Conspiracy Take the Crown. She is a ghost assassin, meaning she assassinates ghosts. She's not a ghost who is an assassin. Okay? Okay. She wound up on Ravnica, originally under a deal with Nicol Bolas. He wanted her to assassinate the Obzedat. That's the ghost council that rules the Orzhov Syndicate. In exchange, he promised to help fix her home plane. Hold up. Record scratch. What home plane? Yeah, we don't know. The only thing we've heard about this unnamed place is that the sky is literally cracked. It has like a jagged rainbow of broken glass running right from horizon to horizon. And the people who live there get a little closer to going mad every year. Kaya is also some form of royalty on this plane, but she describes her family relationship as complicated. She presently has joined the Gatewatch, and she was also hired by the guild leaders on Ravnica to track down and kill Liliana Vess for her role in the Dreadhorde invasion. This gives Kaya a lot of internal conflicts to work through. She's got to find a way to fix her home because she can't count on Nicol Bolas to do that anymore. She's supposed to help the Gatewatch per her oath, but she's also supposed to be tracking down one of their former members to murder her. Now, some of this might be addressed in the next couple of weeks when we get the second War of the Spark novel, Forsaken. Rest assured, I'll be reading that as quickly as I can and posting a summary with anything new that we learn right here on this channel. So make sure you subscribe because you don't want to miss that. The book should also help with mystery number 4. What's going to happen with Liliana, Dovin, and Tezzeret? These 3 planeswalkers were key figures in the War of the Spark, standing on the side of Nicol Bolas almost right up to the very end. As punishment for this, the guild leaders of Ravnica have ordered them put to death. Kaya was assigned Liliana, as we already mentioned. Vraska is supposed to find and eliminate Dovin Baan, and Ral Zarek offered to track and dispose of Tezzeret. Fitting. Now, I do not expect any of these characters to die in this second book. If they were willing to kill them, they would have had it happen during the War of the Spark. Letting them live, to flee, to be killed off-screen relative to the cards feels kind of unmotivated, but I could be wrong. Ravnica has a lot of rebuilding to do, and with Niv Mizzet now the living guild pact, leadership of the Izzet should fall to Ral. But if he's off chasing Tezzeret, what impact will that have on everything? Also, Tezzeret never really wanted to serve Nicol Bolas. He actually let himself be defeated during War of the Spark so that they could shut down the planar bridge and stop the invasion. That could be relevant if he's at the beginning of his own redemption arc. He just has to convince Ral. And we should know more by the end of November. Okay, big mystery number 5. What is Karn up to? Karn has been a part of the Magic story for a long, long time, and he has seen some shit. Most recently, though, we found him on Dominaria digging around in the Yavimaya forest. He was looking for an artifact that could be used as a weapon, and some people believe it's the Golgothian Silex, the one that Urza used to stop the Phyrexian invasion of Dominaria, but that would contradict some of the older stories because I think that thing blew up. Either way, Karn now has a Silex, and he wants to take it to New Phyrexia. There are a few problems with this, however. New Phyrexia, as the name would suggest, is overrun by Phyrexians, and I still plan to make a video dedicated just to them, but for today I will just say they are one of the big bad guys for all of Magic's story. So Karn wants to purge them, and a Silex kind of destroys everything indiscriminately, and that's fine if you consider the plane already lost, but it's not. There are still pockets of resistance there, living creatures who won't be able to flee the blast. They're fighting to purify New Phyrexia and turn it back into Mirrodin. Using a Silex, goes against that. Plus, destroying all the Phyrexians here doesn't end the Phyrexian threat for the rest of the multiverse. By now, they've almost certainly spread to somewhere else. So, is Karn going to blow up a whole world for nothing? What he really needs is something like the Cauldron of Eternity, because that could purify and heal everyone who was corrupted by the Phyrexians without killing them. But I don't think he knows that that exists, so he's going to have to do the best he can with what he's got, and that is one Silex. So those are my 5 biggest mysteries. I got a few smaller ones. We're going to tackle those real quick in a segment I call Mustache Minute. Ready? Here we go! What happened to Soren and Nahiri? One minute, he's on Innistrad, trapped in a wall, and his sword, aka the Parasite Blade, has been taken by Olivia Voldaren. But the next minute, they're both on Ravnica, and he's swinging his sword around like it ain't no thing. When the day is won, they both just vanish. So how did he get out of that wall? Where's he going next? Did Olivia suffer from a sudden case of getting in the way of a millennia-old vampire? Big mystery. Also, what happened with Narset and Sarkhan? At the end of the Tarkir timeline, well, one of them, the two of them were exploring Tarkir together, but they somehow get separated before War of the Spark. Narset, a monk with incredible self-control, was unable to ignore the planar beacon. But hot-headed Sarkhan was like, and he goes to Amonkhet to get weapons to fight against Nicol Bolas. Why did they split up? Why did Narset leave the only other planeswalker she knows? Or why did he leave her? She is super knowledgeable about dragons and would be exactly the person I want to have next to me when I'm plotting a way to kill a dragon. So what happened? Big mystery. Speaking of which, Ugin and Nicol Bolas. What's the deal here? Nicol Bolas is sparkless and trapped on the meditation realm with his twin brother as warden for all eternity. But these guys do get tired and they do have to sleep. So unless Ugin has some supremely powerful magical bed sheets, how does Nicol Bolas not just kill him the first night they have together? Big mystery. And speaking of dead things, let me set the record straight on Gideon, because I've seen some confusion. At the end of War of the Spark, he gives his powers of invulnerability to Liliana. That saves her life, but kills Gideon. Nobody disputes that, but where does Gideon go when he dies? If you look at Heartwarming Redemption, you would think that he went back to Theros, but in the War of the Spark book, he leaves a pile of ash and broken armor pieces, which Aurelia scoops up and carries around protectively for the rest of the story. So I don't think he made it back to Theros. He was never trying to run away. The whole point was that he literally had Liliana's back. And in his final moments, he just pictured home, but he really died on Ravnica, which means he will not show up in the underworld of Theros. The other confusing bit is Liliana. She takes on his powers, but only temporary. That doesn't stay with her. She is not invulnerable, although she is still apparently immortal thanks to the powers of her contract. The fine print on that thing must have been a masterpiece, and I would love for Liliana to run into Davriel Kane at some point, because that is a man who knows how to write a contract with demons. Oh, can you imagine if Davriel went to Theros and he's wearing his mask and all of the returned are wearing their gold masks and he's looking at them like, no, this is my thing. Stop it. Woo! Okay, let's wrap it up. What is your current mystery of magic? Let us know down in the comments, and then make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the great stories you'll only find here on Magic Arcanum. We'll see ya.